Welcome to SVG-TV News for Thursday, June 14, 2018. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. Venezuela's ambassador Francisco Perez Santana has revealed that shipments of oil from Venezuela to this country have not been suspended, contrary to media reports. Yesterday, the Antigua Observer quoted a report from the Venezuela Oil Ministry as saying that Venezuela had suspended oil shipments to 8 of 17 Caribbean countries under the Petro-Caribe Agreement due to falling crude production and low refinery utilization. Ambassador Perez Santana, however, pointed out that sanctions imposed on Venezuela by the United States have resulted in difficulties for Venezuela making payments to vessels which they use to transport the oil. The ambassador explained that this in turn has affected the transport of fuel to countries which have agreements with Venezuela.
President Maduro and the Venezuelan government is trying to continue to keep providing the oil and all the gasoline, and as usual they are doing. Of course, will be easier if the United States stop the sanction that they keep us with our government. And when I say sanction, I say blockade the ship that is trying to transport the oil, or to the sanction that avoid us to obtain the money for the sale.
Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves has confirmed that the U.S. sanctions imposed on Venezuela have indeed been affecting Caribbean countries, including St. Vincent and the Grenadines. PM Gonsalves was speaking at a news conference earlier today where he told reporters that he had not received word from the Venezuelan government nor its embassy in Kingstown that it has suspended shipments of oil to SVG. The Prime Minister said that the U.S. imposed sanctions have, however, affected the regular shipments of oil to SVG.
We have received no such communication, and they will communicate to us if it were true. And the Venezuelan ambassador, chargé d'affaires here, I contacted him. He said he'd find out. He didn't get any information either. This is a time of an era of fake news and all sorts of things. But I can say without doubt is that the sanctions which the United States of America has applied to Petro-Caribe, to Venezuela, has affected us.
PM Gonsalves said that sanctions on Venezuela have begun to impact money for the SET program and to help fund social development projects here.
We are affected in two ways. Immediately on the fiscal side with government revenues, there are projects which we have earmarked to be financed by Petro-Caribe funds, like for instance the SET program. That's one, for instance. Like for instance some housing. And the items are listed. I think we have about $10 million or thereabouts to finance projects out of Petro-Caribe this year. $9–10 million. It's clear that we're not going to get $10 million in long-term financing because of these problems. So we have to find other sources to finance those things for which they were earmarked.
The Prime Minister also noted that the fuel at the Hugo Chavez storage plant at Lomans Bay will be impacted, but for now there is a 3-month reserve at the facility.
The second thing is that VINLEC has to go to one of the other providers, and they have a relationship with both providers, Sol or Rubis, to get fuel. At the moment, Vinlec's tanks are filled, and the tanks at the Hugo Chavez storage plant down at Lomans, as I say, have nearly 12,000 barrels.
The Prime Minister, who has responsibility for air and seaport development, said that his administration has been strategic so as not to create a monopoly in the energy sector, as this could cripple the economy.
Their job is purchasing, storing, and distributing fuel of all types. And I said we are not going to have one supplier, and we are not going to be, Petrocaribbean is not going to be the only distributor, because you have to make sure that you have energy security, so that where Petrocaribbean would not be, if Petrocaribbean at any time cannot supply to Vinlec, Vinlec will purchase from one of the other agents, one of the other entities, whether it's Sol or Rubis. So you don't have to worry about St. Vincent and the Grenadines having a problem.
Dr. Gonzalez chastised persons who criticize his administration for not depending on a single fuel supplier.
They said, why don't you take over the storage facilities of Sol and Rubis, as it was Shell and Texaco? I said, no, we're not interested in that. And when we complete our storage facilities down there, we will only have, we'd have for a longer period, because storage is just 2-week storage which exists. But we'll have 3-month storage facility down at capacity down at Lomans under the Hugo Chavez storage plant. So all we do, we just have the security of it. The vessel will come more infrequently, but once they come and bring enough and fill us up, they don't have to come every month.
Motorists here have been paying more at the pump for gasoline and diesel as of Monday, June 11th. The price of a gallon of gasoline is now $12.55, an increase of 47 cents. High sulfur diesel has increased by 44 cents and now retails at $10.55 a gallon, while low sulfur diesel is now being retailed at $11.19 a gallon, an increase of 7 cents. Manager at Sol SVG, Steve Francis, told SVG-TV News that the price of gasoline and diesel was last increased on April 30th this year. He said the price hike is due to events at the international level.
As I mentioned, the situation in Iran, where the United States is pressuring Iran with respect to their nuclear capabilities, and obviously that will have an impact on the price of oil. We also look at the situation in Venezuela, where production has been reduced. So, again, this is being a negative factor, will cause the price of oil to go up. So prices have been trending upwards over the last couple of months. So this is really a reflection of what's happening on the international market for oil.
Manager of Cruise and Yachting Services at Careers and Company, Michelle Forsyth, has identified the need for improvements at tourism sites across SVG if the destination is to remain competitive with other Caribbean destinations. Forsyth told SVG-TV News that site improvement and maintenance work is critical in order to maximize the potential of the various sites.
Yes, there's quite a lot of things that needs to be improved. If we are going to play in the market and compete, even on a regional level with the other islands around us, there are quite a few things that we need to do. One of the things that we need to do in particular is look after our sites. Tourists don't only come now for sun, sea and sand, although that is still very, very important when they come to the Caribbean. They're still looking for white sand, you know, that quintessential picture that they see with the coconut tree going over the crystal clear water and the white sand. They're still looking for that. But we know that on the mainland in particular, we don't have much of that to go around. So if we're going to play in the big league, then we need to look at the sites that we do have, the things that we do have.
Forsyth added that access to sites is a major concern and highlighted some of the complaints received from visitors.
The tourists say the bus ride is long or the bus ride is hard, and that is because they are scared when they drop in the potholes, and they are scared when they go up the hills and down the hills, especially because the roads are rough. That's one of the things. Washroom access at some of the sites. Some of the sites we do have washrooms. They need to be better maintained, they need to be lit, they need to be kept in good and proper working order. We have some issues with other maintenance, some buildings falling down, some things not put back where they were. We have sometimes problems with staff on the sites. So those issues we have and things that we can work on for next season.
Deplorable and substandard. That is how opposition leader Dr. Godwin Friday has described the condition of the J.F. Mitchell Airport and Fire Station on Bequia. The Northern Grenadines Member of Parliament made this accusation on radio on Monday, during which he complained that the facilities have been neglected and this was unreasonable to workers.
You know, it's really appalling the way in which the condition that airport, J.F. Mitchell Airport in Bequia, has been allowed to deteriorate the building. And, you know, the main terminal building is in terrible shape, but the fire station, you know, a few years ago I went there basically to look at it because one of the police officers who was there asked me, really in desperation, to say, listen, this is terrible, you know, the conditions under which we're living, you need to see, and so on. This is about 5 or 6 years ago. And I went back and nothing has changed. Since? Nothing has changed. And it's really, it's disgraceful to expect professional people to live in those conditions that they are, the officers there are allowed or required to live in, you know, the accommodations are terrible.
Dr. Friday called for renovations to be carried out at the airport and said that the improvements also will address matters pertaining to safety.
Generator there which hasn't worked for God knows how long, and you need a generator at the airport. If the electricity goes down, there must be a backup in order for flights to come in and out. That needs urgent attention as well, and I hope that the authorities that they will pay attention to this, because it's a matter of, of safety and security, and also for basic services that are being provided to the public. These are things that we can't take for granted, because people who come in, they see this for the first time and they are shocked by it. We may get used to seeing it the way certain things are, and you tend to get used to things like that. You don't want to get used to something like that. Okay. But what I want to do is to raise the alarm again, in a sense, to say, well, listen, the conditions there are substandard by far, particularly at the fire station, the accommodations that the officers there have to endure.
Meanwhile, Minister of National Security, Air and Seaports, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, has given the assurance that more will be done to improve the J.F. Mitchell Airport and Fire Station. At a press conference earlier today, PM Gonsalves pointed out that some of the improvements to be done had been presented at a recent meeting of Parliament and that upgrades will be undertaken.
And I answered it as to what we are doing, things what we have done and things which we have planned doing. But I'm aware that there are some areas which need improvement, and I pointed out where we have improved, what we have done, and what we still have remaining to be done, and what we intend to be doing. So action is being... Yes.
Carnival Beats coming right up. Stay with us. Welcome back. In Carnival Beat this evening, as they mark 10 years of rural carnival activities, the Pateni Carnival Committee is encouraging the public to patronize their 2018 festivities, which are set to culminate this weekend, June 15th to the 16th. Chairman of the committee, Ronnie Marks, said this year's events will be in line with the already high reputation of rural carnivals. The events will kick off with the prestigious KCCU Miss Pateni pageant, an event which Marks has promised will be one of epic proportions.
It's 10 years, so we're putting our best foot forward. We have a good product, we have a good brand that we need to protect and maintain that standard. So we're working towards that. And this year we have a beautiful crop of girls this year. Beautiful, beautiful girls. The delegates that we have are of extremely high standard this year, and they get along really well together. They're a good team. I gathered that from interacting with them. So we're looking forward to a good show. So I'd just like to invite everybody to come on out at the Lockwell Boxing Plant and expect something magical.
The Juve and Evening Street Jump Up will bring an end to the weekend activities, and the chairman gave an overview of what patrons can expect from those events.
Juve in the morning, we're starting out at Lockwell again this year. Again, we have 2 huge trucks on the road this year. We actually had the crowd capacity to do 3, but logistics and so on and police and so on, we have to keep it down and try to see how we could better manage the crowd this year, because everybody wants a piece of Pateni Carnival. It is the hottest rural carnival, and we want to keep up that standard and even improve it this year. So we're doing for the wet fets, cheaper water and so on, we're going a step above what we have done so far, and we're looking to improve drastically the already high standard that we've established.